Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, April 2nd, 2022. It's John Gilkison, Aerostealth here. And here's my partner in crime over here, Phil Knox, Arrowhead. And we're at move over a little bit. Yeah, come towards me. That's it. Keep you in the frame. We're at Monahan State, Sand Hill State Park in Texas. We meet here every few years because it's about halfway for the two of us.
For me to make CO2.
Yeah, and so anyway, Phil got to drive my Chevrolet Bolt, my 2019 today. So if he talks about the car, he'll have something based on experience. So what'd you think of your drive in the Chevy Bolt, Phil?
I liked it. I liked that it's affordable. It's kind of easy to learn. It's driving a car.
Yeah.
It's unremarkable in that way, which I think is a real good thing.
Just to refresh your memory, I have a 2019 Chevrolet Bolt, which I got used for $21,000, and then GM had a battery recall on it, and I just got a new larger battery pack put in the car for free. Thank you very much, GM. Yes, please, I said. And so my used car appreciated by $5,000 immediately, which I liked very much. And now it's even easier to travel in the car. I just drove 300 plus miles from New Mexico to here with 3 charging stops, and one of them was for lunch, and I barely had time to eat lunch. I had to go. So
pretty good problem to have.
It is. I'll be honest with you, it does take a little longer to travel in an electric car than it does a gas car. We'll now and forever give that to the critics, but I just don't think it's an onerous problem to have to get 130 miles per gallon while you're traveling. I averaged, with a tailwind, I averaged 131 miles per gallon, 132 actually. So that might get clawed back because I'm probably going to have a little bit of a headwind going home. But not like Phil. Phil gets headwinds both ways, right, Phil?
It's that magic special order just for me. And I actually, with internal combustion, made a stop for 50 minutes and had a leisurely lunch at a 5-star Michelin-rated Dairy Queen in Sweetwater, Texas, so I could watch the wind create the electricity that I burn at home. So that was interesting.
One of the comments that I was making to Phil about my car was it'll burn any fuel. You can get a gasoline powered generator and charge my car. You can get a diesel powered generator. You can get a coal powered power plant, natural gas, propane, wind power, solar power, tidal power, geothermal power. It'll run on any kind of electricity. It's agnostic. It just doesn't care. But it does demand 87 octane electricity.
Right.
Has to have it. But other than that,
there is a rumor that design electricity is on the way. You can have a designer signature superimposed on the sine wave pretty soon and pay, 5-10 times the rate for a kilowatt hour. So,
be Gucci electricity.
Yes, I'll pick Calvin Klein perhaps, maybe, or Ralph Lauren.
But anyway, Phil's been talking a lot on Echo Motor about regenerative braking. So what did you think when you experienced it?
It's a real deal. In a few minutes, I was doing complete stops. And according to the guru with Toyota over the Prius program, he's claiming that even a hybrid our plug-in hybrid, they're recouping 71.1% of the kinetic energy that you would lot. I lose it all in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
So we can safely say that John's getting at least 71% of that energy back into the Bolt, which is, it's a coup.
Yeah. That's one of the things I've been trying to get across to people. Yes, electric cars do better in the city, but than they do on the highway. But even gas cars would do better in the city if they did not have to stop. And I've already proved that with a test. I did a test loop where I just drove a steady state 40 miles per hour without having to stop. And then I planned to stop every quarter mile or so and sit there for 90 seconds and then took off again and tested it against that. And it was dramatic. It was a big difference.
You nearly doubled your range.
Yeah.
I think you went to 30 something from 18 or.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Well, yeah, it's like 15 miles per gallon in the city with my truck, and yet I can drive the same loop at 40 miles per hour at over 30 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have to stop, you didn't have stoplights in the city, and that is possible, by the way. We're not making stuff up. You could have gas cars that could double their miles in the city, MPGs. And this is a little known fact, and there's people still arguing about it. They seem to think there's something magical about the fact that electric cars do, and then they'll say, well, electric cars do worse on the highway. Yeah, I did worse on the highway. I only got 131 miles per gallon on the way here. That's worse. Worse than 150 miles per gallon.
Pitiful.
It's pitiful.
Burn the thing.
So
Context.
Phil's in the market. He wants to get a, you're looking at maybe a used Fiat 500e.
Yeah.
And those are basically city cars. I mean, they've got about 80, 90 miles of range.
And my typical commute is 17 miles round trip.
Round trip, yeah.
So.
Mine's around 50 miles. So, but even back when I had a plug-in hybrid electric with only 20 miles of range, that 20 miles of range accounted for 1/2 of my driving, roughly. That's how, and what I did was I saved that range for the city and tended not to use it on the highway, so where it was least efficient. But it changes your whole perspective to buy an electric vehicle. It really does. So I was talking to Phil yesterday about it, but I'd like to have my daughter do some artwork for me where we have you've seen these artwork where there's a little mammal hiding under a fern and there's dinosaurs in the background, and the dinosaurs are going to die off, and there might even be a meteor plunging through the sky in the artwork, and the mammals are going to take over, but they're not big yet, and they're hiding, but they're stealthy, and you could put a little windmill down there and make sure you understood the little mammal was an electric car and the dinosaurs were fossil fuel cars. I think that would be an interesting, challenging cartoon to draw. I bet you my daughter could do it. Any ideas on that?
She's the artist.
Hmm.
Yes, give her the inspiration.
Yeah.
But it would be a fun thought experiment to kind of throw that out there.
Well, this is my second trip in the car. Our first trip was to Phoenix and back. It was 400 miles each way, and it's over 300 miles each way to here at Monahan's. And so I'm getting used to operating the Electrify America network and planning charging cars on the road and so forth. And I've had people comment to me that it's too much work. You have to do all this planning. And I just tell them, you know, there's something called a better route planner. There's an app for that. It does all the work for you. And I use it. And although I modify it slightly, I was doing much better than a better route planner said I should be doing. So I just used it to pad the battery account, so to speak, and get more charge in it. So we went up this morning and we shot pictures of the car up near an oil pumper. It's an abandoned pump, you say, Phil?
Occidental Petroleum for the Permian Basin. They suck the well dry, which kind of, you're looking at, you know, not only the peak oil, but the decline of fossil fuel. And
well, they put a fence around it. It's kind of like a museum piece or show and tell, or I don't know what to call it. It's an attraction in the park, and people come. They even have picnic tables up there.
Get up close and personal.
Right. It's not moving or anything, but interesting enough, a lot of these pumpers nowadays use electric motors, and they've been using solar power and wind power to operate these pumpers and bragging about it.
Yeah, and there's still a Poppin' Johnny behind us over the sand hills, which maybe has a 25% thermal efficiency, and the electric pumpers, they'll be running at 90% plus. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, they're pumping oil out of the ground. They're lowering their carbon footprint by using solar power to pump it out.
Yeah, one of the world's largest photovoltaic arrays is just a few miles east of us, between here and Odessa. So that's interesting, and that's right in the heart of oil country. So they're milking every end of the cow.
Yeah. Yeah, with the recent increases in gas prices, over $4 a gallon back home, and over 5 or 6 in California, a lot of people have been concerned about how to save gas. And I've been mildly amused by that because I've been driving by gas stations for a year. I haven't used any gas. Yeah. And if whenever the prices of gasoline is really low, they say, well, we don't need renewable resources because the price of fossil fuels is so low. And when the price really gets high, then they say, oh, well, we need federal assistance to drill more oil because the prices are high. And they want it both ways. And they seem to have it both ways, don't they, Phil?
Seems. And on the drive out yesterday, they were curtailing wind power. The wind was so strong yesterday they had to turn the turbines off because they were wheeling too much power onto the grid. And if they had a bunch of the grid scale batteries, they could have been, you know, sequestering it there for future use.
Well, one of the things they can do is actually pay you to take the power. That's been done in England. They get too much production, they literally credit people on their account to use the power rather than let it go to waste. That's an interesting idea. We don't have those kind of ideas over here.
Yeah. Another thing for me is I got to see where my electricity came from, and I drove right through where 90 homes had just been destroyed by a tornado in Jacksboro, and none of the turbines were affected, although I'd heard rumors that they had been destroyed, but they were all in the closest proximity where the tornado came down. They were all up and running. They were making the electricity that I will power my future electric car from, because I'm on an all-wind program at home. So I'll be immune from any of this price volatility on the fuel in the future, and I like the smell of that.
Well, we got to go here pretty soon. I hope everyone likes my hat. I didn't bring a hat.
You got too close to Chernobyl.
I did, yes.
So we use them for a nightlight now.
I was over there fighting with the Ukrainian forces. And
defending democracy.
Really enjoying some of the videos I'm seeing on how you Ukrainians are showing the Russians how the cabbage gets cooked. And this is a whole new kind of warfare going on over there with the kamikaze drones and the Turkish drones, the T-2 drones, and so forth. And the Russians just weren't prepared for this.
Yeah, the mouse that roared.
They're going to learn a hard lesson, I think. Okay, well, we're at 15 minutes, so I need to go. Aerostealth signing out here, and
Arrowhead, see you down the road.
See you down the road, everybody.
All be safe.
Take care. Bye-bye.